For some time, I've been using Algorand and other DeFi platforms. But one question has always bothered me. Am I actually making money, or am I just losing my shirt? Most crypto platforms don't offer a good way to track your earnings. So I decided to start an experiment. I put $100 into 3 different Algorand DeFi platforms. This is the result. Hey guys, welcome back to Frugal VC. We're talking about our portfolio update, our Algorand DeFi experiment, and we're doing on Algorand because I have a bunch of assets on Algorand. So we're going to go through what I have and how things went. We've been doing this this is week 9. So we've been doing this for 9 weeks. 2-month update was kind of interesting. One big thing that's coming up, so you'll see that a little bit later, one very big surprise, but otherwise it's a pretty ho-hum week. But we know we got to do the experiment and some positive news this week. So, slightly positive, but positive. So let's get into it. First up is Cometa, and let me just share my screen. Last week, Cometa was at 69.75, and you can see that is a little bit higher. That is 70, 60, 72, 70, 72. I put 71 in my notes because I wasn't able to see the screen because it wasn't popping up, but that's where it is. So it's up a little bit, just a tiny amount, not much. By the way, you can see a little town star going on in the background. I'm in the competition and it's going about as well as you can expect. Let's see Tiny Man farming programs. Now last week this was 86.34 and now we are at 88.32. You can see right down here if you can see my mouse. 88.32, so up a little bit, mostly because the price of Algorand just went up a little bit, plus we gained a little bit of rewards. So still probably, I'd say this Tiny Man one is one of the most stable. And people have asked for an infographic, and actually I might be working on that soon, so stay tuned for that. And Folks Finance, similar to the, not on the app, sorry about that. Hoping it auto, yeah, there we go, yeah, 14.15, so it was like 13.85 last week, so that is doing decent. Not bad at all, to be honest. And Lofty, now Lofty is interesting because the biggest news, said this is our historical returns. I'm going to tell you most of that right now is most of the returns coming are from property value increase, because otherwise, now you see this number right here, 1548. Yesterday it was 1542. That means, that's right, I earned a total of 6 cents in rent payments over the day. That is way down, and a total of, let me check my notes. I wrote this down yesterday, did the math. 14 of my 22 properties are not paying right now. 14. That's the big shocker. You should still watch the rest of the video, I hope, because we're going to talk about some other the rest of my portfolio. But that is the big news. Lofty not doing great. It's really disappointing. I know there's a huge issue with rentals in general right now. But I want to show you something here. Operating reserve replenishment. Starting yesterday, May 15th until June 13th, you are receiving daily rent based on actual cash flow received in the month of April. Because of the recent governance vote to increase the operating reserve replenishment rates, just under 55,000 was replenished to the operating reserves of all properties in just the month of April. So wondering where it's going, that's where a lot of that is probably going. So it's not necessarily tenants not paying. Some of this is just replacing these reserves at the new amount, which is one reason why, I've actually talked about how I don't often pay attention to the governance, because for the most part, like I just want the property managers to do what they do, and other people can decide. I don't care if I've voted on a few of them, but mostly it's like they kind of go the same way every time, so I don't pay attention. But that's one maybe. But then again, I don't know. Is it needed? Who knows? The point is, like, that's the reality of it. So you have to keep these things in mind when you invest in Lofty. If you're thinking about cash flow, don't think just because the total rent that you should receive every month is like, say, $1 or $2 or $10 or however much you're putting in. You may actually get way less than that. So don't count on it. That's a really important point. And this was one of the things that, when I sold Lofty to people and I was telling them that Lofty is great, one of the reasons is that I considered it a reliable asset to counterbalance the volatile nature of crypto. But it turns out the rent payments are pretty volatile as well. But property ownership is always good. So it's kind of a horse apiece, but that's the reality of that. Now let's look at the rest of the portfolio. Soon I will have infographics for this. I found a way to do it. So, okay, so to compare these, to compare the Algorand DeFi stuff, I wanted to say what would happen if I bought $100 of Algo and $100 of Bitcoin. And that at the time when I started the experiment, that was 466 Algo, and it was 0.00375 Bitcoin. Algorand is at 77.34, and Bitcoin is at $101.90. So out of everything we've been tracking, out of all the DeFi, you still would have been better off just simply buying and holding Bitcoin. And that's an interesting revelation that I didn't expect when I started this experiment. It's made me think maybe I should be investing more in Bitcoin. We're going to track this over time. I'd love to be able to make a chart to see, kind of compare how they've done over time. So that's something I'm going to be working on. I don't know when I'm going to get that finished. It's a lot of work to do data visualizations, but I found an app that might help me do them quickly. So altcoin portfolio, I got Polygon, Mina, MetaStao, PYR, and Blur. The reason they're all lumped together, this is my 8 coins, but this is 6 of my 8 coins. No, I'm sorry, 5 of my 8 Bitcoins to hold. The rest I have moved over to staking platforms where I can earn on them, but these I'm just holding on Coinbase. Cost basis is $650, and it's down to $587.47. Now, it was up a month ago, but a lot of crypto has dropped, so that's the reason for that. Near cost basis is 125, and that one is only down to 121.187. Made $2.75 in staking so far. That is a cumulative total since I started staking. I'm gonna try to keep better track of how much per week. And then HBAR, my cost basis is $200. That is currently at 173.67. And so I didn't keep good track of the staking there. Sorry about that. And then Cosmos, I've kind of talked about this on past videos, but my cost basis, I've called it 310. It's actually quite a bit less because I bought Cosmos a long time ago. It's at 328 right now. I made $1.41 in staking last week. So that one's one of my favorites because you're making like 20% on that. So that's it for this week's experiment. Like I said, we are 9 weeks in. It'll be really interesting to see how things go over a year, over 2 years, even longer. And I'm debating about whether every year that I do a reset, or should I just let it all continue. Some people have said like, well, you should have way more in Folks Finance, but that's the continued amount from algo stake, and I want that to reflect that, because that's what happens. Sometimes you just really lose money, and those are real losses. If I had 1,000 in, I would have lost like a lot of money, hundreds of dollars. So it's important. This is the reason why we do this experiment, is so we can know, well, does this stuff actually work? Because my suspicion was that you were earning this money. You thought you were earning this huge APR, but in reality, you're actually losing money just from depreciation of the coin. And it's starting to kind of look like that's the case, that it's so volatile that you'll lose more in price than you'll gain from APR. And like I said, I'll be more certain about this as the experiment goes on. Maybe we'll start adding some HBAR and maybe some near DeFi as well to kind of test those out as well. But it depends on how popular the series gets. So make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel so you can see these every week, because I don't see other people doing this. Maybe they are, but I don't see people actually running these experiments and showing how they go. Now, could it be designed better? Perhaps, but this is what I got. This is me trying to figure out this stuff to see if it really works. And that has been the guiding principle behind my channel from day one. Not just to say, here's how it's supposed to work. I want to say, well, does this actually work? Let's try it out. Let's kick the tires, and let's let you know whether it actually works. So guys, if you want to subscribe to the channel, I appreciate that. Don't have to smash it. You can just press it gently, and like buttons are always encouraged. And if you want to share the video too, I think I really like people to share this on social media more. It was really interesting to watch my John Woods interview, which you can check out right here. My John Woods interview really took off on Twitter. It was going all over the place. He's the Algorand CTO. I think I asked him some pretty good questions. I sure enjoyed the interview. It seemed like a lot of other people did as well. So anyway, guys, stay safe out there. Not your keys, not your crypto. say get your stuff off exchanges and put them on a ledger, but now I'm not even sure about that because apparently there's a backdoor to Nano. So I don't even know what to say about that, but I don't know. Be careful out there, guys, and I'll see you in the future.